All right, so today's topic is, from what the title explains, uh, what exactly was the point of Luke's quote unquote distraction, unquote. Now, if we're just kind of taking it for granted that that's what that was all about, we're going to discuss more specifically his agenda with regard to being there in the first place. So let's get into the whole idea of him going there. I mean, let's take the premise that Luke was trying to devise a plan. He's on Octo, and he's trying to come up with a plan. So he didn't just whip this up on the spot. Obviously, it took some planning. It just doesn't do this willy nilly. It does involve some major commitments, some major investments to pull this off. So it's not like driving to the grocery store. No, he actually had to think this through and determine just what his own participation was going to be, what his own risks were going to be, and all that. So it couldn't be taken lightly. So let's get to it. Logically, his whole plan was devised specifically to get the rebellion, the rebels, out of a jam. They were essentially trapped in this fortress with ostensibly no way out. I mean, that was established. We'll talk about that later. And the First Order literally knocking at the front door. So there's certainly a time constraint here. Now, this whole predicament didn't develop over the course of days. It literally developed over the course of a few hours. Now, we can't say exactly how long has transpired since they, jumped off the Raddus and were on their little escape pods to get to Crate. And how we don't really know how long they've been at Crate, but the implication is that they did show them going into the fortress and unfolding these old radar screens and a bunch of obsolete looking devices. So it seems like they haven't been there that long. And then the First Order showed up, and that's really when they find themselves in a jam. So Luke Skywalker, if you figure he's somehow monitoring the situation, I mean, however he's doing that, it's unclear. It's beside the point. I'm not going to get into that. But let's just say he's aware of what's going on, has a good sense of what's going on, realizes there is a predicament. He doesn't have a lot of time to come up with a plan. Let's just say, for conjecture's sake, it's a number of hours. Because remember, Rey is in the Millennium Falcon. She's en route. So we know it's not a matter of days, because seemingly she is still on the way from Snook's ship, and she didn't make any stops that we're aware of. So you have to figure this is still within sort of a continuum of time on the order of a number of hours, right? So he's thinking, how do I help these guys get out of this jam? What's the best thing that I can do with them in this predicament? So basically, Luke's plan has three elements to it, three critical elements to it. And so let's try to get into his head. I'm going to try to get into his head and go through his thinking. And let's see whether you agree. But I'm just going to try to get into his head and sort of understand what his thinking was when he was coming up with a plan to help them. I suspect he was kind of going through this train of thought. So first of all, he's thinking to himself, okay, so I'm here on Octo. I'm not as spry as I used to be. I really don't want to have to resurrect the starfighter from in the water that's been sitting there for years and years. It may or may not work. Can I get it to work with the Force? Probably. I haven't flown it in quite a long time. Do I remember how to fly it? Sorta. Can I learn real fast? Would I remember real fast? Would the Force help me remember real fast? Okay, probably. Do I want to go all the way to Crate, super far away, to get in the middle of this thing? First of all, do I even have the time? Can I get there in time? These guys are in a jam literally almost right now. How fast could I even get there? Even with light speed, all these different things, how soon could I even get there? I mean, there's a time constraint here. And to boot, I'm not too keen on literally getting into a fist fight with anybody, just to be perfectly honest. If I can find an alternative, I would much rather find an alternative. So I think I'm going to use force projection. I mean, I've never really used it before, but I think this would be like a perfect application for it. Now, mind you, I've been retired for a number of years. I haven't really done anything with the Force in quite a long time, and force projection, I'm not having really no experience with it, but obviously it requires a lot of resources and energy and whatnot. I'm an older guy now. It's been a while. This could suck literally all the life out of me, but I kind of think this is the way to go. I can still stay here and do it as a force projection. Now, I'm really rusty with the Force, granted, and this technology is super advanced. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants with this one, but my friends are in a sport. I think this is like the time to give it a go, if I'm ever going to give it a go. And there's a little bit of me is a little curious to use it on my bucket list, to use it at least once, before I move on to the next place. So I guess this would be the perfect opportunity. I don't want to leave any force powers on the table. I want to use them all at some point, and this would be a perfect time to use it. I guess this would be when you would use it, when you need to be someplace in some form virtually immediately, and you just can't physically be there immediately. So I think this is like a good application to use force projection. Okay, so that's my point number one. Okay, my second point in my plan is that I'm going to use the force projection essentially as a decoy, and I'm going to walk out there on the battlefield in front of the First Order. I'm going to grab their attention. They're going to be shocked that I'm actually there. They're going to engage me. They're going to expend their resources on me by firing upon me and chasing me and shooting me with a whole bunch of stuff, and maybe even Kylo Ren will come down and want to take me on if I sort of goad him a little bit. I might even be able to bring him out. Might be able to talk to him a little bit. Just eat up a lot of time. Stall. Stall for time. So that my friends have some extra time to escape from the little jam, from the little jam there. Wait, hold on. If I go there, hold on, I just can't do that straight away. I gotta talk to Leia first. Right. That wouldn't be right, just to go out there and just get into all this stuff, not saying nothing to her, haven't seen her for a while. No, hold on, okay. First, I'm gonna go there as a force projection. I'm gonna talk to Leia for a few minutes, and might even be saying some goodbyes and stuff like that. Do that for like a couple minutes. Okay, then I'll go out to the battlefield, and like draw all the attention, and tie them up, have them worried about me, while and give my friends some extra time, be like a distraction or like a diversion and stuff like that. So that's the second part of my plan. And now the third part of my plan is that while I'm engaged with them, while I'm stalling, while they're paying more attention to me, they're not even worried about the people in the fortress. While they're all tied up with me, my friends can escape. Okay, and they can escape to safety, and the First Order, are not going to be worried about them, and at least for the moment, and they'll have that much more time to escape to safety and live to fight another day, to regroup themselves and to rebound and put themselves together to mount a great fight with the First Order another day. So that's the third part of his plan, right? Would you agree with me so far? That's basically how he thought this through, from what we can gather. Now whether he planned to die, that's probably up for debate. And I'm not really going to get into that right now. But I think that certainly was, on the face of it, his plan. There were two somewhat critical flaws in his plan, I believe, in the thinking as he thought this through. I think there's somewhat of a major flaw in plan number 2 and a major flaw in plan number 3. Now let's just get to it. So the first part, the second part of his plan is that he's going to create a diversion, a distraction. He's going to stall for time, and all that. Now let's look at this actual element of time, and what he did. How much more time did he actually give them to ostensibly escape? I mean, what advantage did he serve in coming there and being a decoy, diversion, all that? Just how much did he assist them in that element of it, of being a diversion, stall tactic, all that type of stuff? Now, so let's go to the evidence and the timestamps. Luke enters through that back from the shadows 2 hours, 7 minutes, 22 seconds into the film. Okay, this is after the skimmer vehicle battles. This is after Rose saves Finn, all that stuff. All that's done over. Now they're back in the barracks, regrouping. Luke enters. He has a conversation with Leia. Now, I covered that conversation at length, tediously, in excruciating detail in my other video. Did Leia know Luke was a Force projection? Covered that quite extensively. Not going to recap that. So he finishes that conversation. Now, by the time he finishes that conversation and he goes out there to get attacked, that happens at 2 hours, 9 minutes, 33 seconds. So about a little over 2 minutes he consumed talking to Leia and getting out to the doorstep of the place to get attacked. And so Luke gets attacked with all that artillery and all whatnot. He comes out there, he brushes off his shoulder. Kylo Ren is goaded on, gets in his ship. He comes down his ship, lands in front of Luke, and that's when we see Kylo Ren. That's when he's holding this device, which has been referred to as a trinoculars by Ryan Johnson. And Poe says, "It's Kylo Ren." Luke's facing him alone. He's with Finn. Finn says, "We should help him," and like Finn's starting to go out there to help, and then Poe holds him back, puts his hand on shit. No. Finn says, "Let's go," and Poe says, "No, wait." And that's when both their lightsabers, Luke and Kylo Ren's lightsabers, light up. And then Poe says, "He's doing this for a reason." Now this is 2 hours, 12 minutes, 58 seconds when he comes up with this notion of this is the first point where there's a notion that this is a diversion, a stall tactic, and this is the point that this happens. Mind you, this is exactly about 5.5 minutes after Luke has he's even gotten there. It's only this moment that they realize that that he's there potentially as a diversion. And this is what Poe says: "He's stolen so we can escape." Finn, escape? He's one man against an army. We have to help him. We have to fight. And Poe says, no. Hold on. We are the spark that will light up the fire that will burn the First Order down. Skywalker's doing this so we can survive. Then he turns to everybody and says, "There has to be a way out of here. How did he get in here?" Right? And that's when C-3PO comes out, and he says, "But sir, it's possible that there's an unmapped natural opening, but this facility is such a maze of endless tunnels that the odds of finding an exit are 15,428 to 1. And that's when they see the crystal fox. And then Poe sees the crystal fox. Poe says, "Follow me." And Leia, they all look at Leia. And she says, "Well, what are you looking at me for?" "Follow him." And so they start the escape. The actual escape starts at 2 hours, 14 minutes, 3 seconds. Now, again, this is literally about 6 minutes after Luke arrives on the scene. And then Luke and Kylo Ren fight. That fight starts at 2 hours, 15 minutes, 14 seconds, up to the point that Luke, I'm not going to go into the fight, it's not material to the discussion. Suffice it to say, they talk, they fight, they whatever. When Luke vanishes, see you around, whatever, see you around, buddy, or see you around, I forget the exact word, and see you around, kid. Maybe that's what he says, see you around, kid. That's at 2:18:27. So their fight lasts about 3 minutes. Their encounter lasts about 3 minutes. Okay, so let's put all these numbers. Why am I counting all these numbers and everything? Well, let's break this down. Luke comes in there. He talks to Leia for about 2 minutes, and then by the time he is up there, it's like another 3 minutes. And then all the people there, they are watching Luke. They want to see what Luke's up to. He's getting fired upon. They're watching all this happen. He comes out there. All these minutes go by. Then Kylo Ren descends in his ship. They're still watching all this. Like, oh, this is gonna be good. Pull up a chair. Gary, come over here. They're about to fight. This is gonna be good. They're all excited. I mean, the lesser people is probably all giddy, but the higher people is saying like, well, what's going on here? How are we going to, they're thinking logically. The other people is figuring this is going to be like spectacular and everything else. At any rate, they're looking at it. He's looking through the trinoculars. Okay, so like all in all, maybe 5 minutes go by, and then they decide to escape. Now, from the point that they make that decision to escape, which is when Luke starts the fight, about 3 minutes go by. That fight lasts about 3 minutes. So from the time that Luke walked out there, he took all that artillery fire, went through all that, and the time that he was fighting Kylo Ren, it was maybe about 4 or 5 minutes, because the fight lasted about 3 minutes. He took all that artillery fire for about 30 seconds to a minute. So his presence, his force projection, delayed the First Order from going about their business, battering down the door with the mini Death Star, mini battering ram them. By Luke coming out there, he spent about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes engaged with them, holding them up, diverting them before descending on the cave. So think about this for a second. So with all this master plan, expenditure of energy from Octo, force projection, never used it before, whipping that out the toolbox, utilizing this master plan, masterful grand illusion, all this stuff. He did all of this to simply give them an extra 3 to 5 minutes to escape. Does that seem worth it? He went through all this trouble. In the end, he sacrificed his life. He did all that. This was his plan. I'm gonna go through all this trouble, sacrifice, basically give up my life, so that they have an extra 3 to 5 minutes to escape. Does that make sense to you? It's not like he gave them an extra 3 hours. Now that could be helpful. But he gave them an extra like 3 to 5 minutes. That's like 3 to 5 minutes. He did all this force projection stuff, killed himself to give them an extra 3 to 5 minutes. That seems doesn't really make sense, does it? 3 to 5 minutes. That's how long it takes me to go to the bathroom, 3 to 5 minutes. But this was what was worth to him to give his life to do force projection and all this most advanced Jedi stuff imaginable, to give them an extra 3 to 5 minutes. I mean, this just doesn't seem. I mean that's what happened, but it seems like, wow, what a plan. That doesn't seem like. It doesn't seem like that was like the most effective way he could have helped. I mean, he went through all that trouble just to give them an extra 3 to 5 minutes. Wow. I mean, think about it. Think about it. He kind of wasted all this time before he got there. There was about 3 to 5 minutes before he even went out there. Okay. Now, for whatever reason, I mean, if he wanted to give them extra time to get out, he could have told them to get out as soon as he got there. But no, he didn't do that. In fact, he never told them that he was going to be a diversion. He just allowed them to figure it out. So from the time he got there, if he had just said the moment he got there, hey guys, force projection here, don't have time to explain it, but you guys need to get the hell out of here. Now I'm just gonna lay low. I'm gonna talk to Leia for a few minutes, but collect your stuff. I'm gonna talk to Leia for a couple of minutes, but then I need you guys to get the hell out of here. I'm gonna just lay low in here. I don't know when the first order is going to be coming up in here. Could be 5 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, half hour. They're regrouping and everything. I don't know just how long that's going to be, but you guys get the hell out of here right now. I'm going to lay low. When I see them coming, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to stall them for as long as I can to give you some extra time. I don't know how much I can hold them off. Could be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I just don't know. I'm going to figure it out once I get out there. I'm going to give you an extra 5 to 10 minutes. But you start now. You start now. Get your stuff. Get out. Find your way out. I'm going to hold it down here. So if his thinking was, I'm going to give them an extra 3 minutes because every minute is critical. I know 3 minutes isn't much, but every second counts, and if I can give them three little minutes, that 3 little minutes could make all the difference in the world, and is worth it. My life is worth it. I'm going to risk my life to give them those 3 little minutes because that could make all the difference in the world. If he was thinking that every little minute counted and was just so critical, and so much so that he was willing to risk his life over it, why wasn't he urging them to get the hell out as soon as he got there? Why did he waste those 3 to 5 minutes wasting time walking around winking at C-3PO when he could have been urging them to get the hell out? Point number 2, if it was so critical for them to get out, why did he leave it for them to figure it out? Why couldn't he just say, I'm going to be a distraction and get the hell out while I'm the distraction? Why did he leave it for them to figure it out? Suppose they didn't figure it out. Suppose they were just stood by there like fanboys watching the fight because they didn't want to miss the fight, and just stood there and he died, and they never went to find a way out. They would have wasted all the time. Why did he have to rely on them figuring it out? And bless Poe's heart, he's always the figure outer, right? He's the guy who figured out that he was stolen. He's the one who's said, no, hold on. I know what he's doing. He's stolen. He's creating diversion. Yeah, so we can get out. Poe figured that out. Remember, he's the same guy who figured out what Holdo was doing when she was turning the thing around. And I think it was Konix. He said, oh, she's fleeing. And it was Poe. He said, no, hold on. He didn't say what she was going to do, but he knew, apparently, probably, he was implying that he could see that she was going to run into the flotilla. Poe was figured that out too. So now Poe is the great figure outer. At any rate, I'm digressing. Getting back to the story here. it relies on Poe. Why couldn't Luke just tell him from the get-go that he's going to be a decoy? Why did he have to leave it for them to figure out? All that time is wasted. Time is of the essence, according to Luke's thinking. Why did he waste all that time? Now, see, the idea here is that Luke's going to be a distraction to the First Order and impede the rebels being defeated, okay? But Luke spent more time chit-chatting and posing and flexing in the cave. He spent more time in the cave chatting with Leia, flexing, posing, winking, than he did out there with the First Order. You could make the argument that Luke was a greater distraction to the rebels than to the First Order. You could make the argument that his distraction with his own friends delayed them more than he delayed the First Order, because when he showed up, they was all paying attention to him. They weren't worried about escaping or anything like that. They were watching from the side his discussion with Leia. What are they talking about? They were wondering why he was here. They were out watching him on the battlefield rather than trying to find a way out. So you could make the argument he was a greater distraction to the rebels finding a way out than he was helping by distracting the First Order. You follow my drift there? So the whole idea behind he's going to risk his life to give him an extra 3 minutes. Every minute counts. Every second counts. Every minute is critical. Well, if you really believe that, you're sort of undermining that logic by spending all that time in the cave when they not urging them to escape, number one, relying on them to figure it out when you could have told them straight away and they could have been trying to get out from the get-go rather than watching you. So that's a little problem that doesn't really make sense. How his time management. I'm calling into question his time management. You follow me? Now, don't get me wrong. You know I like Luke Skywalker. You know I'm ride or die with the guy. I have nothing against him. I'm really just poking some holes in his logic, his plan. This is just theory. We just chit-chatting here. Like Luke Skywalker, I'm not calling him in any kind of names or anything like that. Still all the respect. But just for the sake of argument, I just like to call into question some of the decision making, some of the time management that he had in his plan. All right. So that's some of the issues I'm pointing out with the second part of his plan. Now, the third part of his plan is that he's distracted. All this is so that they have, quote unquote, have more time to escape to safety. It was going to give him an extra 3 minutes to escape to safety. Now, the critical question here is, how were they going to escape? How was he thinking they were going to escape? Escape how? It's already been established that they can't escape. Right? That was established. Let's remind you. Let's remind you of how that's established. Back when they first got there, Rose says, there has to be a way out of here, right? Because she was a little concerned. They're setting up shop. They're getting a little antsy that they're sort of like confined in this one spot. Rose says, there has to be a way out of here, right? And Poe says, BB-8, what you got? BB-8 and C-3PO rolled up out of nowhere. Poe, BB-8, what you got? And C-3PO says, BB-8 has analyzed the fine schematics. This is the only way in, and then he faces that front huge garage door thing, or out. This is the only way in or out. Okay, so that's been established. They're setting that down as hard fact. That's the facts that we're dealing with, right? That's the fact. So when Luke was doing this planning, presuming that he's aware that to their knowledge there's no way out, why would he think that giving them an extra 3 minutes helps them find a way out or get out if there is thought to be no way out? You follow me? Like, what? It's a moot point, the extra 3 minutes, if there is no way out. That's only helpful if they know the way out, but it takes 17 minutes to get out. They need those extra 3 minutes to get the way out. No, to their knowledge, there's no way out. So it's a moot point that I'm giving you an extra 3 minutes if we know of no way out. How do you plan a master plan as that part of your plan? Okay, I'm going to create this massive diversion to give them an extra 3 to 5 minutes to get out to safety. But that's predicated that there is a way out. If there's no way out, that's a stupid plan. You just wasted that 3 minutes of diversion. He could not know that there was a little opening filled with rocks. He could not know that they was going to see the crystal fox randomly out of nowhere. He couldn't factor that the little child, a smaller crystal fox, found his way through the little teeny opening randomly out of the blue and showed up there. He could not have known that in advance. Can't see the future. The Force is not known to see the future. To my correct me if I'm wrong, we've never seen the Force foretell the future. So he could not know that they're going to see the crystal fox randomly out of nowhere. He couldn't foresee that Rey was going to be in the right place at the right time to find where the crystal fox was coming out and see the rocks. He couldn't know that Rey was going to use the Force to lift the rocks in a way she's never done it before. He couldn't foresee that she would be there at the right time, the right place, and use the Force in a way she's never used it before to lift the rocks and clear the passage. He could not have seen all that. So what way did he see them getting out of an environment that there was no known escape? That seems like a critical flaw in your planning if you did not foresee a way out. I mean, he could have been more help to have found a way out rather than just give them more time to look for a way out. You follow me? I mean, in my mind, it's like you're making a plan to rob a bank, and you say, okay, we're going to go in there. Okay, I'm with you. And we're going to pull out our guns. Okay, and we're going to ask for all the money. Okay, and we're going to get the manager to open the vault, and we're going to take all the money. Okay, and we're going to come in the front door because that's really the only way in. Okay, and of course the police are going to show up. They're going to be outside on the curb and the sidewalk, and they're going to have the megaphones and tell us to come out with our hands up. Yeah, I follow you. And then I'm going to throw a little fire out there and light a trash can on fire to create a diversion. Okay, and that will give us an extra time to escape, to look for an escape out the back. But wait a minute, I told you there is no way out the back. I told you that the only way in or out is the front. I know, but we'll look for a way. There must be a way out the back. I mean, there has to be a way. I'm sure if we look hard enough, we'll find a way. If I create a diversion of some sort and give us an extra 5-10 minutes, we'll just look really, really hard for an exit out the back. That's your plan? Why even make a diversion? That's a stupid plan. What's the chance of there being exit out the back of a bank. That's the whole point of the bank, that there's only one way in or out. That's how they build banks. Are you serious? That's your plan? That's your sophisticated plan, that once we get inside, that's when we're going to look for the way out? You're not making the exit part of the plan, like a foolproof way to get out part of the plan? Well, I mean, no, I'm creating a diversion to give us like extra few minutes. Yeah, but that's a moot point if there's no known way out the bank. You know, that's the same situation here. What's the point of giving them 3 extra minutes to do what if there's no known way out the facility, right? So let's forgo that. Let's say he just trusted that they would find a way out somehow. Maybe just with an extra few minutes, they would find a way to get out the facility. Let's just go the extra step. Let's just give them a pass on that and say they found a little exit. Somehow they found their way out. Why would that alone be sufficient? Okay, so they find a way out the facility. He gave them extra time to find their way out the facility. Where do they go from there? They don't have any vehicles. They barely have any weapons. Any weapons they have are probably some little hand weapons. They don't have crafts. They don't have a spaceship. They can't leave the planet. Okay, they find a way out the facility. Now they're at the back of the facility. But what good was that? Okay, so the First Order, they come in the front. They see that they're not there. They say, oh, they must have found a way out the back. Send all the scout drones and scout ships to all the known places around the back and heat sensors until we find them, and then they find them and they're captured. So how did that really help? Even if they had extra time to get out the back, so to speak, how did that even get them to safety? Your plan doesn't include a mechanism for them to get off the planet, and that's what they really needed, a way to escape off the planet. So the plan was pretty short-sighted. I mean, one, it relied on them finding a way out of a place where there's no known way out, number one, and two, it relied on them going, not only getting out of that place, but going to safety off the planet by a means that was not known. He could not have figured that Rey would be there with the Millennium Falcon. That he couldn't have said, okay, well, my plan relies on Rey showing up out of the blue, getting there in time, saving them, being the right, and then she'll take them off the planet. How could he have known all that? How could you make that part of your plan, that Rey's going to show up by chance and, not get blown up, not get intercepted by all the resources of the First Order? How do you not have that more nailed down as part of your plan? Right? So in my mind, again, that's really a major flaw in that part of the plan. Like, okay, so they have more time to escape, but how was they supposed to escape in the first place? And if they did escape to where? They're still in danger, even if by chance they found a way out. Okay, we found a way out. Now where do we go? We're still stranded on Crate with no weapons, no vehicles. Does that really solve the problem? Was that worth sacrificing your life to give them 3 minutes to possibly find a way out and then be stranded at the back of the facility with nowhere to go? It doesn't seem that was like the most effective plan. So the point I'm making here. So let's put this all together. So the title of the video is, what exactly was the point of Luke's distraction? And as far as the plan is concerned, to create a distraction and a decoy to allow my friends to escape, I mean, that was the point, but I mean, there are really critical flaws in that plan. If you're Luke Skywalker coming up with a airtight plan that you're willing to sacrifice your life for, the point was to give them 3 extra minutes to keep trying to escape. That, I guess, that was the point of the distraction. So, I find that it's a little not well thought out as far as creating the distraction. He certainly, I think, could have come up with a better plan, especially putting his life in danger. I mean, you're sacrificing your life to give them 3 to 5 extra minutes to look for a way out of an inescapable place. That was the point of Luke's distraction. Yeah. So basically, it doesn't really seem well thought out, and there's I feel some critical flaws in the plan, and it relies on certain things happening that really don't seem like they could happen. So those are my comments. Those are my observations. That's my presentation for today, guys. I hope you like my analysis. So thanks for watching. I invite you to subscribe to the channel if you like this content and want to see more. The more subscribers I have, it inspires me to create more content and keep this party going for as long as possible. And if you liked it, please hit the like button, and I will look forward to seeing you the next time. Thanks very much. Take care.